Ashmit. Welcome to Catching Up with Coast to Coast. Thank you so much for being here.
Nice to as well.
Thank you, Pinakani, for getting Ashmit and being like all nice about it. And she's like, no, Ashmit's gonna come, not July, this month. And I'm like, okay, thanks.
This week.
This week.
That was kind of him. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
So Ashmit, I mean, you've inspired so many people. I keep looking at your social media and you post very cool stuff. I just wanted to know one thing, that what inspired you being an interior designer? Like, where did that journey or that stem of that thought kind of, was it you randomly sketching one day and just thinking like, oh yeah, I'm creative, I can do this? Or what kind of an awakening was it being an interior designer?
I think it's the pursuit to live better, you know, or to create a life you don't need a vacation for. So make everything more luxurious, beautiful, charming, more delicate. And then I think we only keep hoping that somebody's going to create it.
So this you knew when you started your career path, like at 18, 17, you knew all of this?
School, early school.
Yeah.
Yeah, to try to collect different things and to make it better. But I think the breakthrough moment was when my dad said that we have a family business. And then his point was that if you want to do something,
Yeah.
you go ahead and try it out.
Yeah.
If it works, great. If it doesn't, don't worry, there's a business to back up. And that certainly gives you wings.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There is a backup plan, right? So you don't have to worry. You don't have to be right. You can luxuriously fail.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
Kind of relate with it. Yeah, that makes sense. So what was that one point where you were like, okay, I want to be an interior designer, or I want to be in this industry, in the creative field?
I went to Parsons.
Yeah.
Earlier to see. I in fact did a world tour to check what design colleges are really.
Yeah.
Not because I wanted to go to a design college, but because design colleges really seemed like a lot of fun
Yeah.
and a lot of partying. And when I went to Parsons,
Were you a part of the frat houses?
100%. I was the leader. I am the leader there. And I think parties get me energy because it's so euphoric, you know. I mean, when you're people, you know, happiness, friends, all of that.
Yeah.
That's what you'll end up bringing home, and that's what you'll end up bringing just about everywhere.
Yeah.
Creative. I also believe you can only give what you already have. So if you have time, you can give time. If you have money, you can give money. If you have happiness, you can give happiness.
Yeah.
So the point is to create it as much. And then, so I thought, okay, I'm just going to go to New York and I'll take admission in some really cool college, because if you're in a cool city, you have to flaunt.
Yeah.
And that's how Parsons happened.
Okay.
Not because I really wanted to be a designer. It didn't happen like that.
So you thought New York, and then you're like, okay, fine, let's go to
Best city in
Parsons.
the world, New York
Yeah.
City, and then what do you say? I mean, if somebody asks, what do you do? You say, you're a designer. How cool thing. Where do you study from? The best university in the world. I actually started one stream of design, which was visual merchandising.
Okay.
And then from there, I graduated into retail design. And then I realized that I'm really interested in how people feel in a space, how they behave, why do the things the way they do. And then can you control it? Can you manipulate it? Can you make it better?
Yeah.
You know, much later did I hear about sustainability. You know, for instance, one of the things about sustainability is that, say, you create something, you know, and it doesn't matter. Just use minimum resources, create something.
Yeah.
I'm probably the opposite spectrum of it. I'm saying create something using a lot of wastage if you have to.
Wow.
Of money, time, material, whatever. Create it so good that it lasts you so long, it becomes sustainable.
Wow.
So the entire thought process happened. And I would say more than anything, just lucky that I wanted to play with. Imagine that, you know, in a contextual way that I wanted to really play with the toy, and my parents and society, God gave me that toy, and I'm just playing.
That's
with it.
amazing. So, let's come up to the fact of material selection. Veneers as surfaces. How important do you think veneers play in terms of surfaces? How important is it? And how have your projects come out with the veneers that you've used earlier from Coast to Coast?
Veneer, just like stone, like leather.
Yeah.
We feel, you know, psychologically speaking, we feel more comfortable in things that we know of. You know, there's a sense of familiarity.
Yeah.
And veneer looks like wood, is a part of wood. So it brings you that comfort. And when you talk about luxury, because luxury is all about care and comfort, so these things become critical. The selection of it primarily has to be in terms of what you're using as a design. Why you have to, for instance, we were talking about a burl. Why a burl to be used versus straight wind versus this.
Yeah.
So materials are primarily selected on the basis of what emotion you want to evoke. My experience has been phenomenal. That's why I'm here. And, yeah, absolutely.
How long have you been using veneers from Coast? So I think Pinakni, you know each other since the past 15 years, is it?
Yeah, we know each other 15 years. I mean, I knew Coast to Coast, but a client introduced me to Coast, and he's very fond of Gotham because he constantly refers to him as Gotham Bhaiya. That's the only way he said. Gotham Bhaiya, and I said that'd be great. Yeah, and I'm glad. In fact, I must say that I was a little worried because since we're into the business of exclusivity, we don't repeat anything at all, zero.
Tia, what really amazes me is the fact that they never ever repeat a design. That's what has brought him to the Hall of Fame.
And hence, a lot of sampling has to be done because sometimes things do not turn out the way you've imagined it to be.
Yeah.
And Coast to Coast thoroughly supported. As a result, I think there's no looking back. At any given point of time, we're doing multiple projects together. I'm grateful to Coast. You, is Guinea still in?
Guinea is still in.
Yeah, she's been very kind and generous with her time throughout.
So the thing also is because we've done so many projects, but every time we finish a project, Transform and Ashmit, it always feels we've reached the next level, because there's like he said, so much of sampling, so much of new material, so much of innovation, so much of experimentation. So it just takes us, and then from our factory we hear voices, ma'am, we need pictures of this project.
Recently, I'm the one who's doing that. Pinakni, I need pictures of this project. Babe, you're kidding me.
Well, maybe you don't get a photo shoot done. And my intent is very simple. I think when you create a project for a client, there is a lot of client in that project. You know what I mean? There's a lot of them, their time. What is life? Life is only time anyways.
Yes.
So they invest their life, they invest their time in it.
Yeah.
And if at all I have to repeat it, either I give them a royalty, which is not a possibility, too complication. Or the point is to
design, you don't have to give them royalty.
Yeah, no, but they invest time in it.
For you to say that I have to give them royalty.
No, but that's true, and one would realize that it's also true. You have the same designer, but you have 10 different clients working with that designer. You can get 10 absolute different variances in terms of technicals, details, because it's a reflection of the client in itself.
Yeah.
And just like clothing has to be chosen, interior, clothing you can decide you bought something wrong and you can just throw it away.
Yeah.
Interiors you get stuck with.
Yes.
And it's not just one or two people, it's also friends, family, kids, parents, everything. There's a lot of back and forth, there's a lot of receiving from them in terms of what needs to be done. And I feel that because it's a joint product, who are we to repeat it? It's as much their property as ours.
Such a nice thought. Is it stemming from the fact of maintaining their privacy as well? Is
100%.
that something that you were also thinking in your head?
So, in my understanding, luxury has to do with money, very little bit. Luxury only has to do with exclusivity. In a colony where everybody has a Rolls Royce is not a luxury. Because it's not about quality, it's not about price, because beyond a particular point, we don't talk about cost, we don't talk about time. Okay, we're taking for granted that the quality is going to be great. So it's only exclusivity, which to understand in the other way is that everybody wants antique, but nobody wants old.
True.
But antique can only become antique if it went through the journey of old, and majority of that old must be destroyed. Only then is an antique an antique. But I love this definition. It's kind of pseudo. It's my brother's definition. And he says not only is it not for the common man, it has to be protected from the common man. If you can think it, then it can be done, then it's really not that godly. If it can be bought, it can be EMI'd, it's really not godly.
Now I know why we always get stuck with this project.
God. Because of these thoughts.
I have to send it back to my factory definitely. Now they keep, ma'am, where do you get these designs from? Where do you get these
Godly. Godly.
Yeah, again, because it's not transform, right? It's transform is just one little counterpart in it, and then there's those clients who've seen the world, they want the best, and God's put you in a position that you can barely assist somebody get what they really want. Wow. And I think that's why it's unique.
Yeah, it is.
Every time, because it has a lot of them.
And that's how it kind of differentiates the design philosophy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a life philosophy.
What is the design philosophy?
It's like asking the meaning of life.
Yeah.
It's a very magnanimous question. But there are two things that we do in a project for sure, always. One, the lifespan of the project, of the house, of the office, or whatever you design, has to be very long. The longevity has to be there. It has to be timeless. It needs to function you now and stay relevant, and it needs to be up to the pinnacle throughout. It must help you become better. And the point is that whenever you know the purpose of a building that you're designing, be it an office, a home, a powder room, just about anything, the space not only should be a space, a reflection of the purpose, but ideally it should be a catalyst for the purpose it's designed for. It must push you to do better. That's the timelessness, evolution of it. And the second, it needs to be Kushnama. It should be a happy-centric place. I believe, firstly, happy people don't fall sick. God forbid if they do, they heal quicker.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
just these 2 points, and they happen throughout in just about anything that you do. I mean, you design like that, no? You don't even throw trash in a trash can like that. You actually just submerge it. You become softer towards everything. And then everything resonates.
It's very wonderful. But actually, medieval European is timeless.
Yes.
But to keep incorporating it and keep taking it on for years and years and years, the same design sensibility, and reinventing and reinventing the whole wheel all over again and again and again. What does it take?
It's great fun. For instance, there's this air conditioning ducting that we're designing. So strange is that. Because that ducting has to be visible because of some architectural limitation. And the idea is that we will do this ducting, that when this ducting was invented, the greatest engineer of that time, the wealthiest person of that time, the greatest designer of that time, if they would work together 100 years ago, what would they create as an AC duct? Because it's the first time it's been done to that scale. So the idea evolved, and it finally is like, so we joke about it, it's the necklace to the ceiling. So it has, the ceiling is all wood, and it has inlays and a lot of marquetry. The ceiling is something that you would want to watch, important. But the duct in this case is the highlight, which comes in a particular way. It's wrapped, it's clamped. It really looks like a piece of museum.
Now if I observe, this looks like a necklace too.
Yes, it is. It is. It can be dressed in a way. And though the new influence that we're getting, for some strange reason, I've recently been quite a bit influenced since we moved to this new office by Japanese architecture, which, when they talk about minimalism, I think sometimes minimalism actually becomes only minimum where there is no royalty or luxury. Minimum, there's nothing. But minimal to the extent that you keep refining the thing, letting go of everything till the time you're only left with perfection, like the Japanese Zen way. And then mix that with traditional European architecture. So you have this level of refinement where if the project is, so let's say a lot of projects happen to be in a modern classic style rather than hardcore classical style. So how can modern classic style, in a way that you see and it's contemporary, but there are those details which make it very timeless.
I was just going to say, that is where I was coming from, to marry the details and make it contemporary, you know. So it's not everybody's
Cup of tea.
We're lucky.
No, you're
Talented. Oh my God.
We're lucky. We're blessed. Clients allow us to do a lot of stuff. I don't know if I hear this, how do the clients allow you to do so much of experimentation and how do they wait for sampling and all of that? So I started work, what runs throughout is that when I started work in India, 19 years ago I came here, and my mom said that in your line of business, how well you've done a job is only defined at how often are you invited in good and bad times of the house. So she said to me, yeah. And that truly is a good testament right there.
Yeah.
So we don't advertise, we don't market, we're not on Instagram. So that
Yeah,
very
you guys do very little.
we do almost nothing. We're lazy about it with our clients. So lucky, I truly mean it. Absolutely. Thank God.
I'm just thinking about the fact that what you just shared. I think clients also like the fact that your philosophy it relates to what you think and they think is something. If I want my house to be like a private affair or something that I don't want, and it has to be timeless, I would call up Ashmit and be like, listen, can you just
Inshallah.
magically do something? Can you get your magic sword right? Also, coming up to the fact that you also run a design school. And we'd love to hear more about that and how the thought started and how is it going now?
Yeah, so I joke Transform is the capitalistic version and Academy of Applied Arts is the socialist version of it. The point is, with so much potential consumption as a country, there's so much potential to design it and produce it. So the country needs designers, So we wanted to open a single discipline academy. So interior design and interior design only.
Okay.
No fashion, nothing, no other subsidiaries for that matter.
Yeah.
One fine day, it just happened that during this Commonwealth Games, there was a limitation in one of the businesses, and that opened an opportunity to do this, and we just started. So my brother runs it full time now.
Yeah.
And the program is really good.
Nice, very nice, interesting. You teach students abroad as well. Tell me more about that. Is that a secret?
No, there is no secret. But I used to be teaching quite a bit earlier.
Yeah.
But now I've reduced the teaching and I'm focusing more on making the curriculums better,
Nice.
more relevant.
Yeah.
And even at the academy, we rerun the curriculum, we update it year on year. In fact, this year's curriculum, the amount of changes we have brought this year, I don't think we've brought those amount of changes in the last 5 years.
What?
Yeah, suddenly because of technology.
Yeah.
You
Because of AI and Mid-Journey and all these different...
all of that, you can see a space and you can change just about everything right now. It's surreal, it's kind of mesmerizing.
Exactly, absolutely.
So the point is to focus on particular subjects which need to be taught. At the same time, whatever you think can be done easily or can be understood as a byproduct, then you pull it back.
Yeah.
That kind of relevance is what we bring. So we have a lot of online students as well, international.
Oh, lovely.
So the program has to be relevant all throughout.
Nice.
And in the academy, where curriculum is very international, just so that it becomes relevant.
So more practical?
More practical, lots of site visits, lots of teachers. For a typical 1-year program, you have more than 12 teachers.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, with different specializations. I think we're now international already because of the internet. Whatever's happening anywhere in the world, we're seeing it at the same time.
We know it, we know it same hour.
Yeah. So earlier we used to think that India's a little behind in terms of this, that. No, bilkul bhi nahi. In fact, because it's so much easier to do a lot of different things over here, I think we might have the highest response time.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Thoughts on Mid-Journey?
It's one man's freedom fighter is the other man's terrorist. I don't know. I don't know much about controlling it. It's scary. It was scary to begin with.
Yes. Yeah.
Would it take over? Difficult to say. But as long as there are people to control it, we might be able to extract the best out of it. Certainly, how it will help is I think it's going to minimize dismantling and redoing on the site.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a huge plus. Also, the way materials, it's so much more realistic now to render a 3D.
Yeah.
Very, very fast, so you don't have to wait, which means you can, overall speaking, reduce the time and the money spent in any project.
Absolutely, and then it also doesn't eliminate the fact that you need human touch to it to add prompts. You need the right designer to give the right prompt.
Yep.
Right, and
I believe the technology is the ultimate slave, the best slave, the best servant.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's consistent, it's cheap, it doesn't fall sick. It has all of those pluses, and that's the only way we will probably be able to liberate humans and set them free. Because machines can do all of that, so we don't have to do the legwork.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, it has. I mean, computers changed the world. Web changed the world. That's how AI is doing right now.
I think if we are able to reduce the physical component for humans, then the physical component only has to be used for excursions and because you want to. So imagine the amount of time that you get, and with that time you can do anything. Invent, discover, get into spirituality, just about any of the higher things, which will only happen if we become free, because ultimately all development is only dependent on one thing: free time. I feel that ultimately only system can set you free. If I want to work 24 hours a day, maybe I can, but for how many days? Not 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
But if you allow systems to take care of it, it relatively sets you free. Then it just seems like a lot is happening. But no, I mean, it's so inspiring that Mr. Hafiz Contractor's office is a 24-hour office.
Oh, wow.
During COVID days, I saw one of the Zoom sessions. He said it works in 3 shifts.
Wow. That's crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I always wanted that. So I'm very glad I have one person in America to take care of it. I have a team in Singapore to take care of it. And I have a team in Delhi. So I'm crawling towards a 24-hour office, which I love. You know, you can lift up the phone and talk about a design or any particular thing, and you have somebody to talk to or make a sketch. I mean, what freedom, man. Wow. Technology. Thank God.
Thank God, absolutely fantastic. Great to know. A lot of people would be like, oh, wow, that's happening at a base contractor's office.
What a big deal. Now, how inspiring, man. I mean,
How crazy.
and then in our own country, wow, what a big deal.
And then when you wake up in the morning, you have like 5 projects and then 5 different renders, and then it's like, wow, efficiency.
Yeah, really one should reach a point in life, I feel, that if somebody talks about you, they're in awe behind your back. That's what we're doing for Mr. Contractor right now, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that great? And that, in a lot of ways, that's just good energy that we're putting towards him.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to meet him to do that, but if we believe in karma and all of that, it's getting to him. Hope he does only better.
You're a very spiritual person.
Maybe.
Do you meditate?
No,
You don't?
I don't have time to meditate.
The design is your meditation.
Of course, you know. Yeah, I mean, really, I mean, whatever we do, I mean, it's really, I mean it.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it. My parents allowed me to do it.
Okay.
Society sustained my doing it. And God sending good people around to be able to keep creating it for them. There is no real work. I mean it, such way. I mean, and truly, what is our job? If you think about design, I mean, I'm talking about myself, for instance. What is our role? I mean, to see beauty and to create beauty. ये कोई काम होता है? I mean,
You make it sound so easy.
But
So super easy.
but such way.
journey has been phenomenal in the last 10. You just started anyway about maybe
19 years ago, I was in India.
In the last, I'm sure initial, you get it, set it up and all that, but in the last 10, 12 years, upwards.
I'm glad. I've had great teachers. I mean, absolutely phenomenal teachers. And
Who do you consider your mentor?
The father.
my father, of course. My father and my mother, of course. Then my brother. He's my younger brother, but in a lot of ways, he's my much elder brother. So, great, phenomenal mentors. Mr. Amarjeet Singh Kapoor, Kapoor Watch Company.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he.
How was he a mentor to you?
Well, we hadn't done a house before.
Okay.
Okay.
I had only done retail. I started my career in India as a visual merchandising. That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's why VM and you're like,
Yeah, इससे वो ये तो
Yeah?
मेरे भगवान की बात हो रही
ये तो
है.
मेरे-
Personal.
ये तो
इनका तो नाम भी नहीं पता लोगों को.
ये तो-
That's my town. And I thought that's the only thing I'm going to do. But then as I started trying to do that, I realized that, for visual merchandising, you need a basic setup
Yeah.
to be able to do visual merchandising. That basic setup didn't exist.
Yeah. At that point of time.
there's a display window that you have, then you need at least 4 feet of depth so that the light can come from the front.
Yeah.
Light used to be on the top of the mannequin's head, casting a shadow of the eyebrows and the eye, and then of the chin, all on the pattern. I said, "Kamal hai."
Not happening in India.
हाँ इसे तो तोड़ के दोबारा बनाना पड़ेगा. And then led into retail design. We did quite a bit of retail, and so Mr. Kapoor was building a house. Very
Okay.
fortunately, his own house.
Okay.
And I spoke to him, and I had interest in classical, and he was doing a classical house. And they told him I haven't done a house that big ever. I have no experience, and he said I'll do the damage control. Now, that's not even mentor. That's like being a pillar.
Pillar. Yeah.
And
Godsend.
godsend, really.
Yeah.
I remember that we did a door. Well, the first thing that we did was we did a door and an architrave and a crown molding. And at that time, now there's a lot of moldings and things happening.
Yes. Yes.
I'm talking 12, 13 years ago, moldings did used to happen. And in fact, one of the bathrooms over there, one of the powder rooms, for instance, has a molding, but because the space was so narrow, the molding is not outward but inward.
Oh, good.
Here?
Yeah.
And that just created a phenomenal new design where the moment you enter, you say contemporary, but you say so classic. And then you probably look at more detail and say classical. And that entire thing in that maybe a 10 feet by 5 feet powder room, you get that kind of experience. Now, again, he allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And from there, we were able to take off. There was no looking back. That's what clients do, luckily.
But that's such a godsend client or a person.
100%.
That's like your best testimonial ever. Like you're still discussing about it, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
The good part is that he's still working with them.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
New houses, he's still
Really?
Very, very grateful, huh?
Wow.
So
That speaks a lot for itself.
we did his house, then we did the younger Mr. Kapoor's house, Mr. Sandeep Kapoor. Then we're now doing Mr. Sandeep Kapoor's son's house.
Wow.
And also where Mr. Sandeep Kapoor's daughter is married, which is Dawat Rice. We're doing their house.
You are a generational interior designer to them now.
So Mr. Kapoor said, "You are Afeem ki ghutti."
Oh God! This is going to be my hook line.
So the point is, I think the other important thing to understand is that why is it that people would want to change designers?
Yeah.
Sometimes people would want to get a different flavor of different designers because they want to see it all. Why not? We don't have our wardrobe from only one firm, right?
Yeah.
You want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I'm saying you already have the comfort to know me, right? And that part is done. Now you want to enjoy the difference.
Yeah.
Here is all the difference in the world that exists.
Yeah.
So you don't leave any door open to go.
That's also the design philosophy, by the way.
100%. Yeah, that you. If I do it faster, cheaper, better, unique, why will anybody go anywhere at all?
Yeah. And plus they have the
and
comfort
newer.
of just.
Yeah.
So everything is, the sensibility remains, but it's just getting reinvented.
And also, I feel new space. But sometimes when people want to get a house designed,
Yeah.
you might think that the new house or the new location or the new colony is going to be revolutionary. It'll change the way you live.
Yeah.
Never is like that. It's only evolutionary because you stay what you are, your guests, your friends, family, and you don't want it to be a revolution.
Yes.
You want it to be an evolution. So that part's already taken care of because you know the person, you know the preferences, you know all of that, but they want a change in that direction.
Yeah.
So you can just bring it, right? Imagine a familiarity with your own staff, but being able to shift to a new office and create it. Versus imagine moving to a new office with all the new staff. That's a headache.
Yeah. It is.
So if you keep the human in the center and you don't forget that you're designing for the human, then the design naturally falls in place. It's the easiest way to do it.
But circling back also that to set systems. You've set a system.
Systems make you free.
But then creativity and practicality. How do you balance that? Because it's very difficult.
It's brilliant. There's a quotation. I don't remember where I read it, but I read it, I think, when I was in class 9th or 10th.
Yeah.
And it said that creativity is all about taking the risk, while professionalism is all about eliminating the risk. Fantastic, yeah?
Crazy.
Yeah. I wouldn't be too surprised if somebody in my house wrote it.
I wouldn't be surprised if you've written it and you're not just saying it out loud.
Saying it.
No, it could be somebody in the family. You know,
It could be your brother for sure.
it could be. But no, too young. Otherwise, there's no doubt. I would have given it to him because he comes up with
Please
such
give it to yourself. You've just
brilliant
written
stuff.
it. Yeah, you've just.
I don't see him. I mean, there's nothing that seems difficult for.
He makes it
that
look easy.
He has to make an extra effort to do it. Everything just comes easy, or that's just the way
You are.
you portray it. It can't all come so easily.
Yeah.
Something has to be difficult.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what do I ask? Which is, he's like, yeah. This balance is difficult now.
It hugely helps if you have extremely talented and intelligent people in the room around you.
Like yourself.
No, like the other people I work with.
Don't say.
And then things become easy because
Yeah.
there is no roadblock.
Yeah.
You know, like they say, the easiest way to get a great idea is my father again.
Yeah.
The easiest way to have a great idea is to have lots of ideas. So when you have a lot of ideas, you edit it on. So what should I apne aap hi ho jata hai. And you know, but to really put it like describe it in a classroom way.
Yeah.
You have to design something to do with wood or some field, and you come over here and you see this and you see that. Your mind automatically starts working because the environment supersedes willpower 100% of the times. So, and knowing that's pure psychology. So if you create an environment which is naturally catapulting you towards engineering or creativity
Yeah.
or risk taking,
Yeah.
you will easily fall short and you'll just sink in. Isn't it true? I mean, certain places make us shut up.
Yeah.
Certain places make us open up. Certain places make us jump with joy. Some are warm, some are cold, you know, some are creative. You might enter into a room and you will just land up absolutely hushed. Or fine dining, it's controlling the way you eat.
Yeah.
Or fast. So
Yeah.
spaces do that.
Yeah.
And there's a term called a writer's block.
Yeah.
For writers, which means that now the writer doesn't know what should the character do next.
Yes.
But the fact that knowing a problem is probably 50% of the solution already. So you choose a different room and you go there and you work. I have that in my office.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, if you're designing hardcore minimalism, your environment changes.
Okay.
So it just becomes so much easier because you're in a minimalist environment.
Wow.
And I'm just talking with the press of a switch. I'm not saying physically moving anything at all. But the point is the industry that has given us so much, we're also going to give something back, right? We're not going to be just leeches and suck it out.
Yeah.
So the point is to invent, innovate, engineer it to a way that it can be mass produced and hence the cost can come down and then it becomes a gift to the society.
Coming also to the fact that, you know, I'm sure that, again, we were talking about creativity and practicality. Maybe many projects that you've, you know, come across where the clients are like, okay, it's taking a lot of time or this creativity is kind of, you know, you don't have the freedom with a few clients. Have you faced that with any of the projects that you've done?
Absolutely become the wind under the wings as well. 100% of it. You know, sometimes when you talk about it, you want to look at the floor. You can't look up, but that's exactly what it is.
But you just make it sound so easy. I mean, it's just like breeze.
But ऐसे नहीं होता.
नहीं ऐसे सबके साथ नहीं होता.
This is the first time I'm like, is it so easy?
Never like this. The clients are like into it, but here's this one rare office I've seen when the clients say हमें देखना ही नहीं है, आप जो बना रहे हो बनाओ, आपने पूछ लिया ना, अश्मित जी के ऑफिस से अप्रूवल आ गया ना, बस बनाओ, you know, literally.
Wow, this is great insight, by the way.
Yeah, all of this is my parents, by the way, all of it, both of them.
Uncle, auntie, great job.
And I think being raised in a joint family, both sides, yeah. Like I think for some very lucky reason, we're the magnet for joint families, and people's opinion could be very, very different.
Yeah, perspective.
Yeah, very, very different, and we would try everything in the world to ensure that throughout in the process, when you're doing a house, and it could be from 1 year to 2 years, sometimes even 2.5 years, nobody should ever feel that they have not been heard very well. Everybody must win, and everybody can win 100% of the times. They might be having different paths to reach the same destination. The same destination is everybody wants to have a great house, minimal housekeeping, house proud. It can be done.
Yeah, we also have a saying where they say that in decision making, let them win sometimes.
All the times. The project has to win. Everybody wins automatically. The last labor wins. Project must win.
In
Fantastic.
design, I think that
Ashmit, any advice for the budding interior designers and architects? There are a lot of budding people. There are a lot of youngsters who are looking at this, and they'll be like, what is that one thing or those two things that you feel should be key in, like, Bible for them? Of course, everybody has their own journey, right? You have your own journey. I'm gonna have my own journey. Binat me, but then something that actually they can hold on to.
I like to say, I hear a lot about wastage, to minimize wastage, and my request is to just open up the minds, and it's okay to waste. I'm not saying just go outlandishly and throw things away,
Yeah.
but it's okay to waste. Do not save resources and create less from the less means to begin with, because you'll be ultimately creating little out of the little effort, time, money, resources that you put. You're only going to spend time, money, effort into it. It's okay if it gets wasted. Make it so beautiful it becomes heritage. It becomes heirloom. You would want to pass it on to the next, because a thing of beauty is truly a joy forever. That liberates you. Anything.
it makes perfect sense.
Could be. I mean, we're talking about dresses, we're talking about bags, we're talking about so many things, The art furniture. Itna acha banaya hua hai. So use it.
But then, just summing up to the fact that anything that you have to say about Coastal.
It's been great to work with. I think we started working only about a few years ago. I'm actually glad, you folks are a gift to us.
Thank you so much.
No,
That's
seriously.
the best thing to say.
It truly allows you to be able to do things because you can be supported well to be able to do that. Otherwise, I feel that our drawings and our dreams would be worthless pieces of paper, scribbled on, useless if they can't be executed.
No, but that's what our philosophy, to turn your drawings and your vision into reality.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for giving us the opportunity. It's really, like I said earlier, we keep reinventing ourselves, upgrading ourselves, try and turn, because your designs bring that flavor every time something difficult, really. It helps us.
Well, the entire fraternity should be designers, the entire design fraternity, architects, we're very grateful to all the suppliers, Let's say if design is the soul, then execution is the body.
Wow.
And soul without a body is a bhoot. So we're very grateful for that matter. And soon the tables should be turning around, and the design fraternity should be pulling in and calling some brilliant suppliers, over. You're welcome, and thanks for allowing us the opportunity to create what we've only existed in the air before.
Thank you so much.
Indeed.
And thank you. I take this opportunity to thank you for also coming here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for all the work and all the support through the year.
Always welcome.
Always.
Thank you, Ashmit.